Lovely.
Gnairi an Boharla. Bukali agus Colini. Welcome.
To the fields of Attenry.
Lola. Welcome to episode 31 of the Parapod. We're back again. It's an odds episode, so we're going to be talking about recommended film of the week, which is But I'm a Cheerleader by James Babbitt.
Babbitt, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Babbitt. Is it? Or is that a woman?
Yeah, no, it is a woman, yeah. I think Babbitt is her second name. I don't know how to pronounce her.
What's her first name?
James or Jamie?
Jamie, oh. Jamie Babbitt.
Wait, let me look that up.
James.
Straight away onto the phones.
Yeah, 30 seconds in. Let me look that up.
Yeah, Jamie, yeah.
Jamie Babbitt. Yeah. A lot of Celtic vibes today. We're coming at you from St. Patrick's Day, or St. Paddy's Day, as it's called in Ireland, with two T's. That's to our American listeners out there. So I'm sure you've enjoyed a pint of the old black stuff on this fine day.
You're fucking better of
out in Oregon and all those places.
Yeah, but, out in Texas, wherever the fuck wherever the American listeners are coming from now.
They have Guinness.
I hope that our one Singaporean listener is enjoying their pint.
Yeah, whatever they have over there. I actually had a pint, or no, I had a bottle of Japanese stout. It was a Japanese cranberry stout.
That sounds nice.
It actually tasted like red wine.
That's
it smelled like red wine. It was so weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't even fizzy. It was no head. It was just like a bottle of red wine, but like small, obviously.
That's so weird.
10% as well, so it probably contributed to the thing. So that's what they drink in Japan, obviously. Give me a pint of the cranberry stout. That's probably what they say over there. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly how a Japanese person would say it. Here are you. Gizda.
Gizda. Yeah, so how are you getting on?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Grand. Love it.
Did you do much today?
I was sitting in watching movies. You know, it's a lovely day outside, but I've better things to be doing. Sitting indoors in my dark room. My blinds don't work, so my room's always dark, so it's completely blacked out, and I was able to completely focus on my computer screen and watch Scooby Doo and stuff like that. So I had a great day. Yeah,
we're starting our journey through the Scooby Doo world.
The Scooby Doo-niverse, the extended universe.
Rich in Celtic imagery.
They definitely have a Celtic movie somewhere in there.
At least an episode.
Yeah, something about Irish or leprechauns or something.
There's definitely a leprechaun episode.
Scrappy Doo is basically a leprechaun. A dog leprechaun, you know. Annoying and scrappy and stuff.
Oh yeah, his name's Scrappy, now I get it.
Yeah, he's Irish.
Very clever, clever.
Hibernophobia in 70s US culture. That's what it is, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone hated him. I didn't mind him, but we'll get on to that later.
Scrappy's alright. He does the job. Yeah, no, it's pretty good day. Right, nice, chilled, relaxing day. Should probably apologise for how the last episode sounds. So was I don't know what the fuck happened to the last episode. If you noticed, well, you definitely did notice that the sound turned a bit weird from here, every so often. It was because for some reason my computer had merged audio tracks from episode 29 with episode 30. So one of us would be talking, and then all of a sudden a clip from episode 29 would just start playing, and whatever we were saying was replaced with that. So if the sound was a bit weird, that is why. We try to work around it, and well, you might not even know that because I'm only 30 minutes into editing the episode, so that thing might never come out.
Yeah, this might be episode 30. Yeah, no, it's avant-garde sound collage. It was completely intentional.
Yeah, completely intentional. I didn't nearly cry when I noticed what was happening.
Yeah, it's rough. You know,
podcasting is hard, okay?
I feel like we're under attack, you know. It might have been hacked or something like that. You know, someone doesn't like what we're saying, speaking too many or dropping too many truth bombs.
Yeah, it's the Bushes after that fucking Instagram photo.
Yeah, they finally got onto that, you know. 4 months later.
That's how they get you, they delay, and then you're like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, it's confusion. It's fog of war, you know. Psyops, you know.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
All that mad stuff. Episode 3 or 4, I think it was episode 3. We talked about, mind control and all that shit. So
that's all you need to know about that topic. It's contained in that episode. But yeah. So what have you been watching this week?
I watched a good bit. I watched a good lot of things. I watched a new film, one that came out recently. I Care a Lot, starring Rosamund Pike and Peter Dinklage. Um, this is a Amazon Prime film, or at least Amazon picked it up. And it is about I don't know what she does or like how to describe it. Basically, she scams. Rosamund Pike is like the worst fucking person ever.
Again.
Yes.
Oh god.
And she is a fucking girl boss, right? She is like uses her like being a woman to like manipulate situations, and by manipulating them I mean she scams old people out of their houses.
Girl boss move.
That's
a girl boss move.
And so what happens is she's a lawyer, and she has like her doctor mate, and her doctor friend will basically deem an old person incapable of taking care of themselves. So then the state take over and they stick them into an old folk home, and then they sedate the shit out of them, and then she comes in and she like sells all their houses and stuff. It's fucked. It's really upsetting. It is
it's
like
upsetting.
It is so upsetting to watch, because you
God.
just see like all these old people that have just been scammed out of their homes, and there's like a bit at the start where this guy is like trying to fight and like get to see his mom, but like the way that it works is that she becomes the legal guardian for the old person, so she has complete control over who gets to see them, and she can just say no, he's not allowed to see them, and there's nothing that anyone can do. And it's really sad and it's really fucked up, and that's the first 30 minutes, and then she's given someone who she believes to be a cherry, and by a cherry is like a rich old person that has like no family, and basically like ripe for picking, and is able to like scam them really easily. However, she's wrong, and this person is not a cherry. This person does have a son who wants to keep off the books, and no one knows about him, and that's because he is he's a human trafficker, and he makes a lot of fucking money, and he's pretty fucking dangerous, and that's Peter Dinklage. And
is this a drama or a comedy?
It's a drama. It's kind of weird film. The flow of the film is very strange. The way that it works is like the first 30 minutes is just seeing Rosamund Pike fuck over all these old people, and you really hate her. And then we're introduced to Peter Dinklage, and like you're kind of like, Peter Dinklage is like the worst as well. Like he's a human trafficker. He's a fucking awful human being, but you almost root for him because he's coming after Rosamund Pike, and you're like, yeah, get her, fucking get her,
Get it.
And it's like the first like hour really fucking good, loved all that, and then the second hour it takes a fucking nosedive. I just think that the writing, the script isn't very good. There's like this moment where Rosamund, because you're kind of questioning like, why the fuck is Rosamund Pike going after her? Like, why does she continue to like try and scam this old person and like fuck over like her son, when her son could literally kill her at any moment? Like he's like a gangster. And there's a moment where like they literally like they try to break out the old woman by like literally like going into the fucking old folks home with guns to like fucking break her out. And it's just shit like that. You're like, why the fuck does she keep going after them? And then there's a moment where she's sitting with the old person, and she's like, you people like you cheated the system. You didn't go all the way through the top, and I don't like to lose. But like the way that I'm saying it, like literally sounds better than how the script has her like saying it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's really like,
Who did the script?
no idea.
Who's this charlatan?
I have no idea. But
do you know who did the direction?
no idea.
Yeah.
I just it's got two really amazing actors, but like the script isn't very good, and it kind of gets like it goes crazy, and I feel like some people really like that it goes really fucking crazy. Me, I was like, this is just stupid. And then there's a moment where like I feel like you're almost meant to root for Rosamund Pike. Like there seems to be like a kind of like shift in how you're meant to perceive Rosamund Pike, but like I was sitting there, I was like, I would maybe root for her if I saw more of the brutal, horrible shit that Peter Dinklage was doing. But because there's literally the only way that you know that he's a human trafficker is there's one scene where he's in an office and like his henchman or whatever comes in and goes, oh, here's the latest shipment, and you just see like photos of like women, and that's it. Like that's the only thing that you've dealt with half an hour of seeing Rosamund Pike fuck over all these old people. So it didn't really work, and I was almost like, I don't know if I'm meant to root for her, or like I'm at this stage, am I meant to like feel bad for her? Because I don't. I still want to see her get her comeuppance, and that comeuppance like eventually comes, but it's not satisfying.
Yeah, or she gets her comeuppance.
Yeah, but like after like a bad situation has like gotten worse for like old people. Basically, I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but like,
so the old people don't come out of it too good.
no, they actually come out of it way worse.
Oh, that's not great.
Yeah, so
They get trafficked.
yeah, so it's not
That's
great.
not great.
It's not a satisfying film.
Like, what other films are there where you can't really root for any character, or you can't identify? It's always
Joker.
It's always a big Joker. Oh, you can feel bad for your one, the his neighbor or whatever.
Yeah, his neighbor. But like, I feel like people feel bad for Joker, but he's a. I never rooted for him. I was
He's
just
morally ambiguous. He's
Yeah.
mysterious. He's mysterious motives. You know?
he's actually morally ambiguous. But like, Rosamund Pike's character, I can't remember the character's name. She's just not morally ambiguous. She's just a horrible fucking person.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a problem. That's always a big problem with a film. You need someone to tag onto.
Yeah, there's no one that you like in this movie.
It'd be cool though if they did like a little turnaround thing where you hate her and then you're like, oh, actually, I have to. Peter Dinklage is even worse. It doesn't sound like that happens.
No, and there's like her girlfriend, isn't it? I can't remember that character's name or whatever. But her girlfriend, like, I feel like you're almost going to feel bad for her as well. But she's a part of the scam. And she's helping Rosamund Pike, and like, I don't feel bad for you either. You're doing the same fucking shit.
Yeah. It's like Tenet, like the wife in Tenet.
Yeah,
she's supposed to be like the good guy. You're supposed to feel bad for her. It's like, no, he's like,
she's an idiot.
Yeah, she's a horrible person. It's like always a big mistake. Always have something to root for. Someone sympathetic.
It's like the best 3-star movie I think I've ever seen.
Oh really?
Yeah. Because it's not bad. Like, the first hour is really, really good. And then I feel like the second half could work for some people, but it just didn't work for me. I just kind of thought it's a bit stupid. And it didn't, like, it kind of left me going, like, what the fuck was that at the end? I was like, what the fuck is this?
How long is it?
2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah.
That's a bit of a commitment, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
What made you watch it?
It's a new, like, film that people were talking about. I went to see it. And, yeah, I mean, I'm glad I saw it, but also, like,
Amazon, you dirty dog, you've done
dirty
it again.
dog, Bezzo.
Every single time it's 50-50. Anything you click on that service is like, this is either going to be absolutely terrible or it's going to be like pretty good.
Yeah,
it's never amazing, but it's always one of those two things.
Yeah, it's always like decent.
Yeah, or awful.
Or awful.
Yeah, there's only two choices there.
Yeah, except for the TV shows, but like films, once you got that Amazon originals, like, it's kind of, I feel like with Netflix originals, for like actual Netflix original films, as opposed to like when they pick up something like Irishman and stuff like that, like actual Netflix original films
that they produce and stuff.
Always shit.
Like what examples? Like I don't think I can't really think of any.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but the ones that they do have like are always fucking bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head that were like Netflix films. I can't even.
Yeah, all the originals that I can think of that are good are all just, like Uncut Gems or The Irishman and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, they got picked up
that are acclaimed.
afterwards.
It's just like they're made, and then Netflix are like, we're going to stick our stamp on this. Or the way they say Black Mirror is a Netflix original. It's like you're not fooling anybody. I saw that on Channel 4 10 years ago. It's like,
who the fuck do you think you are?
Like, God, they have to neck a Netflix.
It really is. It's so fucking neck to be doing that.
I should call them Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah,
that's the new term.
Yeah.
What can you do? What can you do?
What can you do in the shoe?
What you been watching?
I actually didn't get to see much. I saw How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. That film?
Yeah. Any user.
I watched that. It's strange. It's not as bad as I thought it would have been. But it's still bad, obviously.
Yeah, it's still bad. Did you ever see that film, Ghosts of Ex-Girlfriends Past, or what the fuck is that called?
The other Matthew McConaughey rom-com
the other
kind of thing.
Yeah, what the fuck is Girls from...
Ghosts of Girlfriends, Boyfriends Past. I don't know.
Some fucking like bullshit title like that.
Ghost. I've never seen that. Like,
no, it's like a Christmas Carol, but it's him learning about his girlfriend. I can't remember what the fuck the story to that film is. I remember seeing it years ago, and even as a kid, because I watched it when I was like 10 or 11 or something. I was like, that was fucking awful.
Yeah, like all the 2000s rom-coms, some of the plots are just absolutely insane. Or like they like how could anyone have thought this was like a rational kind of thing? Like that these characters are behaving in rational ways. Like in 10 Ways or 10 How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. It's like two characters, him and Kate Hudson, and like they're both trying to obviously like She's trying to get rid of or like attract a guy and then get rid of him in 10 days to write a magazine article. And he's a diamond salesman who needs to convince a woman to fall in love within 10 days to get a contract with the diamond company. So it's two people who are just absolutely insane and psychopathic. Yeah. You can't sympathize with them whatsoever. They're horrible, horrible people who are just basically like...
It's the I Care a Lot of rom-coms.
Yeah, that's a lot of 2000s rom-coms. But it is funny in some places. And it's like the premise is so ridiculous. And you just can't take it seriously. But, Matthew McConaughey is great and everything, He's just a bit of a king.
When was the shift for him? Like, was it True Detective like the switch where he like... and Dallas Buyers Club and stuff like that?
He had Lincoln Lawyer 2011. Lincoln Lawyer is pretty good. It's about a lawyer who drives around in a Lincoln car, I think.
What a fucking title. No, I've never heard of that film.
Yeah, I watched that back when he did Dallas Buyers Club and True Detective. I was like doing like a retrospective. Actually, a really good film that he did was Mud. That was in 2012.
Yeah, I remember watching that.
Yeah, Mud is really, really
Mud
good.
is good.
But like, yeah.
Who directed that?
Guy did Take Shelter and...
Yes. I don't know, yeah.
The other thing called, yeah. He's really good though. All his films are pretty good. Midnight Special, he did that as well. But yeah, Mud and like I think there's a Lincoln Lawyer. Yeah, they're pretty good films. That's when he sort of tried to get a bit more serious and like drift away from the rom-com kind of thing.
Yeah, because what year did Dallas Buyers Club come out?
2013, I think.
And then what year did Wolf of Wall Street come out?
I think it was the same year.
Yeah, because I feel like Wolf of Wall Street, just from that scene, I'm going, that was the fucking, that was it.
Cool scene, yeah.
That was the bit that like shifted his career nearly. That like people started taking him more seriously. But I feel like there was stuff beforehand.
Yeah,
but,
it's just independent stuff.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. Like I never knew who Matthew McConaughey was until Dallas Buyers Club, I think.
You just know his face because he's so famous.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's in Interstellar, and then he's in like fucking huge blockbusters. He hasn't done anything in a while though.
Yeah. What else has he been in?
I'm trying to think. He hasn't done that much. I don't think. Not in a while. Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, that's back in the day.
That's way back in the day.
Way
he's in Tropic Thunder as well. I was
yeah.
Oh yeah, The Gentleman. He was in The Gentleman.
I've never seen that.
That's pretty good. The Guy Ritchie film. It's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah. Mud was 2012 as well. Jeez, 2012 was a busy fucking year for him. Oh, he's in Magic Mike as well.
Was he?
Yeah. He hasn't actually done that much. Of course, Texas Chainsaw 4.
Has he done like anything recently last 5 years?
Yeah, The Gentleman. That came out 2019.
Is that it?
Yeah, 2019.
That's it?
Yeah, from what I can see.
That's mad. I know he wrote a book. He wrote a book recently. It's autobiography.
He's mad Christian, isn't he?
Yeah, he's insane. Guy's just completely insane.
He's mad fucking Christian.
Yeah, you ever see his Oscar speech where he's just talking about his hero is the person he's going to be in 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, this guy's just like an evangelist, but he's, also a famous actor at the same time.
Yeah.
But everyone acts like, whoa, that's so inspirational. And like, obviously his attitude is amazing, but some of the stuff he comes out with is just so fucking ridiculous. It's like, you can't take him seriously at all.
I remember like seeing a clip or something of him on like Joe Rogan, and he said something about like, because he's like, oh, there's all this like anti-fucking religious stuff in like Hollywood or whatever, because Hollywood's super liberal and left-leaning, whatever. And just talking about that or whatever. But I'm pretty sure he was talking about like where like he wanted to. I might have this completely wrong. I could be completely like misrepresenting what he said, but I'm pretty sure he says something like where he wanted to pray or something on set, and people were kind of like, no. But he was like, what the fuck? I just wanted to pray. It's like, obviously fucking not.
Why is he praying his own?
Yeah, mind your own fucking business.
Can we all just pray for a second?
Come on, we just hold hands in the basking of the Lord. It just turns into Rust, like, but at the end, but like the end of True Detective.
This is all meaningless. Yeah. Yeah, his epiphany.
Oh yeah, that's what it seems like. Matthew McConaughey in real life was like a Rust or whatever, and then all of a sudden turned into Rust post like at the end of True Detective.
Yeah, it's actually a documentary. That's actually what happened. You just had a camera and start filming him. He's just doing all this crazy shit.
He's just doing this mad shit. Oh god. What have I been watching as well? I watched the classic as well this weekend. I watched Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, right. Is that the 50s film?
Yes, the one where like I'm ready for my close up. That film.
Mm.
Wow, that's a fucking great film.
Is it?
Holy shit!
Is it actually good though?
No, yeah, it's actually good.
It's in black and white.
No, it's actually good. It's really fucking well done. It's about this guy who's a really shitty like scriptwriter, and he does narration over the film and stuff like that, where like he's like describing scenes or whatever. And I was sitting there, I was like, why is the narration like really shit? And I was like, oh wait, no, it's done on purpose because he thinks that he's like a really great writer, but he's never done fucking anything, and he's doing the narration. And you're like, oh yeah, I can see why you've never done fucking anything really, because the narration is so like, the chalk was like on the desk or whatever, like, and the red wine, like he's describing like the smell of red wine and stuff like that, or whatever. Like, it's not like good whatsoever.
What's it about? Like, what's the premise?
So he's like mad in debt, and he ends up staying with this old silent film actress who was like huge like in the silent era, but she's like gone completely downhill now, and she's completely deluded as to the fact that like she is like no one anymore. She's like, she was a star and she no longer is, but in her head she still is a star. There's a bit where like he says like, oh yeah, you used to be in big, like you used to be big or whatever, and she turns, she's like, I still am big, it's the pictures that got small. And she's just like all about that.
Yeah.
And she's written this massive script for Salome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Salome. Yeah.
The fucking Oscar Wilde.
Yeah. I was thinking Salo.
I was thinking Salo as well. I was like, that's what she's going for.
That'd be weird.
She's written this big massive script, and she basically like pays him to like edit it or whatever, and he's like, this is fucking awful. First of all, she brings him in, she's like, is this big enough for like one film? And he's like, this is big enough for like 6 films. And she's like, good, because it's gonna be one film and it's gonna star me, and like he's trying to cut bits out, and she's like, no, you can't cut that out because that has me in it. And she's so deluded and so crazy. By the end of it, she like, she ends up killing a few people.
What?
She just fucking loses it. But it's about like stardom and how it like warps her like people's minds and how they become completely deluded because she is so fucking rich. She is unbelievably rich. Anyway, he's staying with her, and like he's like working on the script or whatever, and he's trying to see this girl on the side and work on the script with her. But it's all this weird shit going on. Man, it's a very strange film as well. And it's really good, really really good.
Where's it on movie like?
What did I watch it on? I watched it on
Rakuten.
I think it was Rakuten.
Alright.
Or YouTube. I think it was on YouTube because you could only buy it on Rakuten. It was on YouTube. Because you had to buy it on Rakuten. Fuck that.
It's on like for free. Oh.
No, you have to rent it.
Fuck that.
But it's good. It's worth your time. It's a classic that holds up.
Yeah, I've heard so much about. Well, I haven't stuff about it. I've heard the name a lot. You know, you always hear the name Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure like that has to deal like because I heard like Mulholland Drive is like kind of inspired by that as well.
Yeah.
But having watched both, I think I have to watch Mulholland Drive again because I have no idea how Sunset Boulevard has anything to do with Mulholland Drive.
Is Mulholland Drive not about like Naomi Watts going mad because she's not famous, or like mad with fame and like the dual personalities and stuff? No,
kind of.
You know?
Like, yeah, I think if I watched it, because like
it's very very hard to watch.
When I watched like Mulholland Drive the first time, I haven't seen it since, but like when I watched it, I had in my head like what I thought the film was, and then there's a moment, and if you've seen Mulholland Drive, like it basically like explains like what was going on, in a really like clever way. But the problem is that like when I realized that my reading wasn't the one that was going on, I was like scrambling like, what the fuck? Like I don't know what's going on now.
abort.
Turn the movie off. But I think if I went back now and like having watched Sunset Boulevard, I don't understand why Mulholland Drive is like talking about Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting double bill.
Oh yeah, shit, and like the girl in it, the crazy one. Holy shit, she's so good in it. She's amazing. She's a queen.
Who plays her? Some Marilyn Monroe.
It's Gloria Swanson. Norma. Oh, this is a fucking amazing bit. Like, because there's a great bit where he's like trying to say like, oh, I can do this. I can work for the script for you because he's like he needs money or whatever. And she says to him, oh, what star sign are you? And he's just like, what? He's like, what star sign are you? He's like, I don't know. I was born in like whatever. And she's like, oh, you're Sagittarius then. And she's like, Sagittarius. oh yeah, no, yeah, I can work with you then. We're compatible. And you're just like, oh. Is that like
Yeah.
in the 1950s they were taking the piss out of that, but that's still a thing where like people are like, what's star sign? Oh yeah, we're compatible.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's
know what I mean?
hilarious.
It's really, really good. It's really well done.
Yeah, that's comical. That's the way to do it, though. You know, star signs. They're never wrong. They're never wrong.
They're never wrong. Never ever.
Astrology. You know,
It's a
look
fact.
it up. Look it up. It's a fact.
It's a fact. Vibology and astrology are very, very,
similar.
very
things.
similarly
Very similar
combined.
things. It's about the stars and stuff.
But yeah, bet the stars. Actually, I wonder. Yeah, that's obviously why.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Zodiac.
The Zodiac, whatever. The Zodiac killer.
Yeah, the Zodiac killer is from California. You know.
There you go. It's all to do with stars and
Just
shit.
connect the dots. That's what the constellations are. You
Yeah.
know.
Just
Connecting the dots.
Connect the dots. It spills out power pods.
Oh shit.
On Paddy's Day itself.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But yeah, and the other bits of the film, it's just like it's really well paced as well. It's like it's not a long film, but it does kind of drag. There's moments where I'm like, this doesn't need because it's nearly 2 hours long. But I feel like every Billy Wilder film that I've seen, I'm like, this doesn't need to be 2 hours long. You can cut this down to like an hour and 40, an hour and 30 minutes.
What else you do?
Something like a hot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And The Apartment.
What's that?
The Apartment is about a guy who owns an apartment and like his bosses or whatever rent out the apartment to have their mistress or something like that.
Mm.
And then he falls in love with the mistress or something like that, something along those lines.
Yeah.
But he did something like a hot.
Something like a hot. Yeah, that's Monroe, isn't it?
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
His films always have this like really classic line in it as well. Because at the end of like something like a hot, your man's just like, "Oh, not everyone's perfect," whatever the line is, something like that. But yeah, good film, good films.
Damn, yeah, fair play. Looking up the classics, digging them out.
Rooting through the archives of Hollywood.
Yeah, digging for gold. Yeah, speaking of classics, I watched multiple Maniacs.
John Waters classic.
John Waters. We've never spoken about John Waters in this.
I've never seen a John Waters film.
Yeah, neither have I till today. Which is probably why we never spoke about it. Yeah, I think it's his first film, I think, or it's his first big film. It was made for $5,000, so it's not really like a big film, but it's...
Man, his films were done mad cheap.
Yeah. This is done with like his original class of Dreamlanders, I think they're called. All the people that are like always in his films. Though the main one's obviously Lady Divine or Divine, who's pretty famous, and she's in all the rest of his films. It's like a very iconic kind of character and a iconic actor. Very, very strange film. It's sort of like a guerrilla filmmaking. It's like very amateurish, but like deliberately so. It's like it's in black and white, and a lot of it seems kind of like half improvised. It's all very ad hoc and stuff. But it's like, I don't know, they're just doing weird shit. Like there's one point where she's Divine's in like the church, and this woman comes up behind her, and Divine's thinking of like Jesus and stuff, and like trying to like return to tradition and stuff, and trying to purify her mind. And this woman comes up behind her, and like they start having sex, but she's still trying to think of Jesus. And then the woman starts saying, "Oh, think of the Stations of the Cross." And they start as they're describing the Stations of the Cross, she sticks a dildo up her, or no, she sticks the rosary up her ass. It's just like, it's really weird kind of symbology and or symbolism. There's a lot of theory behind it since it's been made. I don't think it was made with any sort of clear intentions in mind, but it's the whole kind of spirit of transgression, I suppose, and abstractive film, I think is the technical term for the kind of strain of film that it belongs to, in terms of like it talks about or sort of dissolves the barrier between the self and the other, and like sort of transgresses all these social boundaries and taboos and stuff, and a lot of talk about like obviously Divine is like sort of transgressing against gender norms and stuff like that, and it's just like a mad trippy film, and I'd always been meaning to watch John Waters films.
Same,
but like you can't really, it's quite hard to find.
Yeah, they're hard to find.
They're not on Mubi and they're not on Netflix or anything like that. I had to watch this on one of those dodgy sites, and even my main too that I always go to didn't even have any John Waters films.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Very weird, you know.
I think you have to buy them on Blu-ray nearly.
Yeah.
Or like buy a DVD of it because it's not on any fucking sites, and like fuck all people are looking for these films.
Yeah, Criterion or something like that.
Yeah, because like Pink Flamingo is the other one as well.
Pink Flamingos, yeah.
There's another one as well. I can't remember. He has like a third one, I think. But yeah.
But yeah, he's like culturally iconic. Like everyone sort of knows his name, and he's been in The Simpsons and stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't really see his films anywhere.
No.
It's very weird. Yeah,
because they're really gross, aren't they? Though.
Yeah.
Like,
they're pretty like graphic and stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose, or this one is anyway. But like, you would have expected to see something more about it, or like maybe on YouTube or something for free. But yeah, it's cool. It's a cool vibe. It's good to see, or good to get stuck into that kind of tradition. 'Cause
Yeah.
the whole kind of camp canon has this whole kind of its own universe going on. So
Yeah, it really does, and they're all like interesting films as well. Cool themes going on in them and whatnot.
yeah.
Because I've heard about like John Water films, like obviously loads. I've heard like how influential they are and how like weird and like really gross that they are as well, and like shocking.
Yeah, there's like murder and stuff, and like obviously like having sex in the church. But it's all these weird juxtapositions. He's in this as well, as like he's Devon's husband, but then he cheats on her, and then she's trying to take revenge, but then she meets the lesbian, and then they go take revenge together and stuff. It's like madcap stuff.
Madcap.
It's exactly what you'd expect. This kind of thing, this kind of vibe.
From this strange little John Waters man.
This little fella with a pencil mustache doesn't even have a pencil mustache in this, but he has this big like bleach blonde mane. It's really weird. Doesn't look like John Waters.
Yeah, because I have a distinct image in my head of John Waters. Like
yeah. But it doesn't look like him at all. But yeah, it's a really trippy film.
Did you like it? Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, definitely. That was sort of like in contrast to the Greasy Strangler. That's because I watched this immediately after the Greasy Strangler, which is what I'm talking about. The camp kind of canon, that kind of vibe of like, like this is just zany and like transgressive, and it's like kind of
weird,
and
kind of gross.
Kind of gross, yeah. Greasy Strangler. It's not necessarily the same kind of vibe or same kind of genre of camp, but it's like, I don't know. It's like
doing something.
It's doing something in that kind of area, that kind of zone. Yeah, it's like an anti-comedy kind of thing, isn't it?
It's like Tim and Eric.
Yeah, it's like a Tim and Eric. Everyone's seen Tim and Eric bit. Usually they're like 5 minutes long.
But this is an hour and a half.
This is an hour and a half. There's like, what, 97 minutes or something?
Yeah, something like that. It's only an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, man. Like,
you couldn't stomach it.
I couldn't stomach it. I got half an hour in. I was like, because before I put it on, I was like, I have to choose between this or a John Waters film. And I was half an hour into the Greasy Strangler, and I was just like, even if I didn't have a different film to watch, I would just turn it off.
Yeah.
I got up at one point, and I was like, I was going downstairs, and usually I'll pause the film. I was just like, I know what's gonna happen, or like, I know what's
what's going on.
Yeah, wait, the shtick, So I just left it going. But like, I can definitely appreciate how people would enjoy it.
Yeah, because I really liked the Greasy Strangler, which is weird that I saw that you had a John Waters film on the docket, because when I was looking up just like the Greasy Strangler after watching it, there was Mark Kermode talking about it, and Mark Kermode didn't like it either, but he compared it to a John Waters film.
Yeah.
And because for me it's like a John Waters film and a little bit of like the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah,
and like
that was my problem.
And
it's just like I just can't get those films. I just don't get it. Like,
and then obviously Tim and Eric 100% had a huge influence on how this film is like shot, and like the dialogue in it is like weird and stilted. There's a joke where like, I don't know how long it goes on for. It feels like 10 minutes, where it's just a guy repeating the word Porto over and over again because the other character can't figure out what he's saying, and it goes on for so long.
Yeah. He's just saying potato.
He's just saying potato weird, and man's just like, and then afterwards the third person that's there is like, he means potato, and then there's like 2 minutes of just the guy laughing, going like, ha 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 ha. Like, he's like, oh my god, just move on, please. Because like,
please stop.
Because like with the Porto stuff, it was like, okay, yeah, I was like, oh, that's pretty funny, and then it wasn't funny, and then it was funny again, and then it wasn't funny again, and then the laughing came. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, this isn't funny. And then they get brutally murdered afterwards, so I was okay with that.
Yeah. The actual villain, the Greasy Strangler. Yeah, there's definitely massive Toxic Avenger vibes.
Mad Toxic Avenger vibes. We should probably lay out what the plot to this film is.
Yeah, what is the plot?
Okay, so the plot is big fucking Ronnie has a massive dick, and he is the Greasy Strangler. And then his son, God, what's his fucking son called? Big Braden. Big Braden is his son, and Big Braden is the fucking, he's a he's a beta male. He's the most like he's got a small dick, and he's like kind of the best line in the film I think is like how Big Braden sums up him and Big Ronnie, where he goes like he likes to shout but I like to smile, and that just sums them up like because like Big Ronnie is so dominating. Anyway, Big Braden falls in love with Janice. Janice.
I think it's Janice.
And then Big Ronnie ends up fucking her as well, and and then there's all the serial killer stuff going on. It's such a weird fucking movie.
Yeah, it's Ronnie is the Greasy Strangler.
Yeah. Big Ronnie.
Ronnie. Yeah.
There's a bit you weren't there. You didn't get to see this bit, but there's a bit where like he turns to the camera and he shouts, "I'm Big Ronnie and I'm back." It's great. It's great.
Yeah, the Greasy Strangler bits are pretty cool. Yeah,
they get wild later on right. So with the grease, because there's a lot of grease in this film. Okay, so basically he's the Greasy Strangler.
Disgusting film.
What he does is he covers himself in grease and he goes around killing people. But he likes to eat really greasy food, and like the sausages that he eats,
he dunks them in like vats of grease.
Oh.
And it's like this. It's just like. But like everything in this film is disgusting.
Yeah,
even the people look disgusting.
Yeah, the people do. Everyone's like really like greasy and like dirty people.
Yeah, Ronnie is like he's in bits. You know, he look like he's been tanning for the last 50 years, and Braden is just like he looks like Napoleon Dynamite. Yeah, Napoleon Dynamite in about 50 years. You know, it's just like a really gross out kind of film. Elijah Wood was a producer on it.
Yeah, Elijah Wood a king.
Yeah, what's he at? Like he's
and Ben Wheatley also produced this.
Really?
Yeah, Ben Wheatley did that.
That's mad.
Yeah.
So such a bizarre, very bizarre film.
Yeah, I don't know how this film happened.
Yeah, like I don't know how you'd sell it. You know, like how would you explain this in terms of like it's a niche. It's a very specific kind of taste.
Yeah.
A very specific genre of film, and it's like trauma kind of films, like trashy, disgusting, gross out, weird, like deliberately weird, and like not necessarily in keeping with conventional comedy or whatever. It's like anti-comedy.
Yeah.
Or black humor, dark comedy, something like that, you know. You wouldn't sit down with the parents and just, you know.
No. Jesus fucking
like,
Christ, no.
It's something that like you could show it to someone and like you get a kick out of their reaction. No matter what the reaction is, like I feel like you either hate it or you really like it.
Yeah, there's no, no one's gonna be like, yeah, this film was alright. They are gonna think it's a fucking horrendous piece of shit or like really, really good. Because I only watched it because of I think Nick Sphere is probably our like this podcast's favorite YouTuber.
Of course.
And she put up a half an hour long analysis of it, and like her analysis of it was about like how it's about toxic masculinity and it's about like cooking and stuff like that. Because the dad and the son are like cooking each other over Janice, and then they both become Greasy Stranglers basically. But like it's like a really misogynistic film because of that. Because of that it's dealing with this, and that progresses really far into the last act of the film. But before that, like it's just such a weird fucking movie. It's so weird, and like. There's like it progresses to like the point where like there's like cannibalism, like they fry like the Greasy Strangler like will strangle someone, pop out their eyes, and then he'll cook the eyes and he's eating them, and you're just like that is fucking awful. Like when I was watching like that's so fucking gross, but then it cuts like it has this really abrupt cut to like so like the way that he stops being the Greasy Strangler is that he goes to a car wash and he walks through the car wash, and there's a really funny bit where like he's getting smacked by the brushes or whatever, and he's like screaming when it happens, and like it does it like a couple times in the film. Like it shows you the most grotesque, disgusting thing, and then it just cuts to him being smacked in the face screaming, and like the juxtaposition between those two things made me laugh every time that it happened.
Yeah, it's like a dream. It's like a dream kind of thing. It's like a really fucked up dream. They'd wake up and like ruin your day before you start.
You'd wake up in a fucking sweat.
Yeah, you'd be sweating in that bed. But like, yeah, it's like in fragments, you know, like all the cuts are so like a lot of jump cuts and stuff, and then it was like the juxtaposition of gore and like murder, and then it's just like a really like prolonged scene where the joke is that it's really long. Whereas before it's like the sudden kind of shock of someone's eyes popping out,
Yeah.
or like someone being stabbed or strangled or whatever. It's like
How would you
it's
strangle someone if your hands were all greasy? You
yeah,
just slip off them.
they just slip away like
You slip away like a soap.
the soapy strangler. Yeah, it's like it's very different to
I've never seen a
some-
film like this before.
yeah, like Toxic Avenger was one thing, or like trauma films or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like it's like the logical conclusion of that.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
like the next step nearly.
Yeah,
of that
the
type of film.
next the final frontier.
The final frontier of trauma.
It's very different to Multiple Maniacs, but you can see obviously very influenced by that kind of
You
kind
can,
of irreverent.
you
sort
can
of-
see like
yeah.
the influences in the Greasy Strangler. His greasy you can see the greasy fingers all over it.
yeah, little paw prints. Who's it? Jeff Hoskins who directed it or something?
Yeah,
British
that's it,
fella.
yeah. Because
What's he at like?
I have no idea, man. He hasn't even done things really. He's done a few things, but they're small. The Nick Sphere video. There's a bit where like she shows a clip of what'd you say his name is? Jim Hoskins.
I think it's Jim Hoskins. Yeah.
Anyway, where he was talking about with the person that he wrote the film with, where he just sent his mate like a photo of like the actor of like Big Ronnie, going like, I want to film with him in it. And then the idea was, I think this is where the idea came from, where his friend just replied back saying, yeah, he could be a greasy strangler, and they just went with it.
It seems like a direct homage to the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
That's what when you first said it or you first mentioned it, I think it was last week or whatever. I was like, is that like a sequel or something?
Yeah, you can like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
definitely is influenced by the Toxic Avenger, but other things as well. Because it's like a fucking werewolf film as well or something.
Yeah. It's got this weird kind of deranged gothic vibes to it, you know.
Nick Sphere's analysis of it makes so much sense. Like having watched it, I'm like, yeah, that's 100. Like I don't
Was
know.
she positive about it or?
Oh yeah, she fucking loves it. She was
Yeah.
like, she was like, this is the trash masterpiece. Like this is like,
Mm.
because the way that she was talking about it, I'm just gonna basically just explain what her thing is. Like, it's about cooking, and it's about like these two guys who are in a codependent relationship, and how like Big Ronnie being like this like over dominating macho man like influences his son, and his son really wants to like kind of impress him as well, even though he hates him. And it's just like this awful relationship they have, to the point where Janet or Janice is like, you need to get over him or whatever. And instead of getting over his dad, he turns into a greasy strangler, and the two of them kill her. But they kill her in a cinema for like for our entertainment.
Oh.
And it's about like that replicating over and over again, and how these like how toxic masculinity and all these like, you know, bad trends in men, whatever, and the, you know, misogyny as a whole, how that replicates itself. And at the end of the film, like, there's a bit, and like the key bit as well that she points to, is how like we've seen like Big Ronnie like eating eyeballs. He's like, the two of them are cannibals at this stage. They're covered in grease. They're like murderers. They're just horrible. They're awful. They're disgusting. But what they say about Janice is, she was disgusting, wasn't she? And like the other guy's like, yeah, she was. We don't need her. Like that's what they say.
That's a good analysis.
Which is a great analysis of it.
Yeah. She knows her stuff.
She fucking does. But I've been watching. I literally have been binging her videos.
Yeah, they're very, very easy to watch. Very good analysis of all those kind of films.
Her video on It Chapter 2 made me like the film even less. I already didn't like It Chapter 2.
Did she not like it, no?
Oh, she fucking hated it. She fucking hated it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone liked that film.
I think most people are like, yeah, it's alright, but like I didn't like it because it was like, it wasn't scary. It was like, it was funny, but like it wasn't that funny.
It's not that funny.
It was
the only
3
highlight,
hours long.
Bill Hader, and that's it. Forget about
Bill
the rest.
Hader is the only thing in the film.
Forget about the rest of it.
But like Nick Sphere's thing was going through it as like a gay punishment movie, because all the gay characters in that film die, every single one of them, and there's no like retribution for them. So it's like because that's in Stephen King's writing. That's all. Stephen King is not a good writer. Like,
Oh yeah. Guy, he hates gays, hates black people as well. Oh, there's always a magic black person in his books.
and that's
And
in
it-
It Chapter
all-
2 as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's like a trope and all. He puts in all his
The
books.
Magical Negro. I think
Yeah,
it's called.
Magical Negro, yeah. But yeah, campy films. It's like that's obviously a theme here. It's like something about them. I just can't. It's one of those foreign territories for me. I just have to I feel like I could appreciate something like the Greasy Strangler, like maybe like a few years down the line. But right now, I'm just like not fluent in that language. I don't understand why. I just don't get it. And stuff like the Toxic Avenger and Trauma. Obviously, a lot of people love it, and there's a massive subculture dedicated to those kinds of films, and like lots of writing and scholarship about them. But I just do not get it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think I definitely enjoy Greasy Strangler more than I enjoyed the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
But only because I found like some bits of like the Greasy Strangler really, really funny. I've also have not stopped thinking about this movie since I watched it.
Really? Yeah?
I watched it on like Saturday, and like every day I've thought about it at least twice a day, just like thinking about like what the fuck was that movie?
Yeah, I feel like I'll have that as well. I only saw it today, so. But I only watched half an hour, so.
No, we watched But I'm a Cheerleader. But before we get on to that, I watched All Cheerleaders Die.
What is this?
Which is another lesbian cheerleader movie.
It's just
heavily influenced by Jennifer's Body, 100%.
Is this not before it? No, this is recent.
This came out after. This is 2011, I think, 2012. But Jennifer's Body's 2009. Yeah, this is a fucking movie. I feel like I didn't really love this film, but I can 100% see how people would love it. This film is fucking trash, but it's amazing as well.
It's camp.
Not really. See, the problem is like. It's not campy at all. And like the lesbian stuff in it, I don't know what the point of it was to an extent, because I think that's like.
Is that the same thing with Jennifer's Body though, isn't it?
With Jennifer's Body, it was more like it was way more like subverting like horror tropes, whereas in this one, it's like they're witches, but they're also like kind of zombie vampires, kind of thing, and it's about them like taking revenge on like the guys that killed them. So it's kind of like it's like a revenge film, but like the plot is all over the place. The plot makes no sense whatsoever. Like right, so like at one stage, like one of the girls gets like grabbed by like two guys or whatever, right? At this stage, we know the strength that these girls have. One of the girls like picked up a dude and chucked him across the fucking forest, basically, right? So that's how strong they are. But for some reason, in this situation, one of the girls, she's just like, she's a girl getting grabbed by two fellas, and like that's the strength that she has. Like she doesn't have the strength, and then her sister tries to save her, but she's too late. But like she tries to save her by ripping the door off the fucking truck that she's in. I'm just like, why? Like, how the fuck is this girl in this situation then? If that's how strong they are, like I don't understand. And it's just kind of shitty. Like it's a kind of shitty movie, but it's also pretty great.
It sounds weird.
Because I was expecting it to, because I resubscribed to Shudder because I was like, I just want some shitty horror film, whatever. And then this was in like. Because we were talking about like I knew that we were going to be talking about But I'm a Cheerleader, so I was like, I'll just watch another like queer horror movie. So I clicked onto that and I was like, wow, this is just, I don't know what the fuck the point of the lesbianism in this film is. Like, you could remove that and it makes literally no difference to the film.
Yeah, get lesbian vampire killers in here as well.
Yeah, get James Corden in here.
Corden.
Get some representation.
Some real representation in here.
But it's just kind of, it's kind of shit. Like, and
bad.
The start is fucking awful. The start of this movie is so bad.
What happens?
It starts off with found footage, and I was like, "Oh, please tell me that this film is not found footage."
Yeah.
It's not. But it starts off like that, and like the characters don't really make sense, and or whatever. Like one of the girls gets alright. So for some reason, there's two sisters, and when their souls are like put back into their bodies, or whatever, it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Like wrong body. They're
reversed.
Yeah, like one
Freaky
sister.
Friday,
yeah, like a Freaky Friday situation.
Yeah.
Body swapped or whatever. That's what I'm looking for.
Body swapped.
And so one of the sister of so one of the girls. I don't know how to describe this. So one of the sisters is in a relationship with a dude, but now her sister is in her body, and she goes off and she has sex with the boyfriend. But for some reason, the girl, like that is actually his girlfriend, is really pissed off with him because he fucked her sister, but like he didn't. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, he fucked his girlfriend.
He fucked his girlfriend,
To
but
his knowledge.
to his knowledge, to his
Yeah.
girlfriend. So she goes off and like
So
she kills him.
So he
She's
got
pissed off.
This man got raped and he got killed for it.
Yeah. But also, man, like at that he deserved it because like
Alright,
the
he's a
situation
jock.
beforehand. He's a jock, and like
Yeah.
there's like the most like misogynistic piece of shit in this film, and he's also the only black actor. So this film isn't great.
It's 2011.
Yeah, 2011, 2012.
My God.
Yeah, this movie's not very good.
The only black actor.
He's the only black character, and he's the villain.
And he gets killed straight away.
No, oh man, this film makes no sense. Basically, there's one of them is a witch, and she revives all of them after they've been killed by like all the jocks, and they have all these stones in them, and when he cuts the stone out of one of them, and then he eats it for some reason, and for some reason then that gives him the powers that they have. I don't know, it makes no sense, but anyway, that's what happens in the film. And then so he's like the big bad guy, basically.
The black guy.
The black guy.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Like magical avocados. Eat their stone, you get their powers.
Yeah, they are like magical avocados. But they're dead as well. It's fucking awful. Where like he's having sex with his girlfriend, or like whatever, and he's like, "Why is it cold?" Because her.
Yeah, wasn't it Ice Stick from what was it? The Twilight episode we did, or you and Sophie did.
Yeah, Ice Stick. Yeah.
It wouldn't Edward Stick be ice cold?
Yeah, it's ice cold. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, but this is the reverse.
The reverse. Ice vagina.
Ice vagina and ice dick. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah. God, Edward's dick would be fucking freezing. It's like a fucking icicle. It's like fucking a really cold carrot.
Straight out the fridge.
Straight out the freezer. Oh yeah. I think we should take a break.
Yeah.
Speaking about gay icons, Mark, what about Scooby Doo?
Man, Velma in Scooby Doo Zombie Island, you can feel the lesbian energy emanating off her, Something about it, librarian and all. She's like
those two women that live in the house together.
Yeah. The bayou, very romantic kind of vibe.
New Orleans.
And they're French as well. Says it all.
They're French. Yeah, that's all you need to know. Like that fucking the older woman in it. What's her name? Madam. The old woman in it. Anyway, like that is just straight up like bougie lesbian vibes.
Yeah, she's definitely been there.
Yeah,
she's
she's been there.
Yeah, she's not. Even they turn into cats. That's a symbol.
That's
a very obvious kind of like on the nose. What we're talking about here.
Yeah,
they literally turn into pussy. We have to analyze this from an honest perspective.
Yeah, you're right. Which therefore means, right, because their
ravenous urges overcome them when the moon arises.
Yeah, and then that's
like,
100% right. And then we can also look. No. And yeah, because like, I actually think you might be onto something because the moon makes like these women turn into cats, whatever, and then you got like Jacques or whatever, who's just like whatever, and he's just weird.
He's like he's like their bodyguard, he's protective over them.
But yeah, then we can you can look at Scooby Doo, the dog, man's best friend, and then
man's best friend
imposing themselves on these
on this island, this little sort of oasis of like a lesbian utopia where they're just sort of once a month they get down and dirty in like that little sewer kind of area with all those Confederate ghosts. And there are Confederate ghosts.
Yeah, they're Confederate ghosts.
We have to know.
And they're pirates, which is also very
very
manly.
Masculine. Yeah. These are pirates. These are rough men of the sea doing like unspeakable things to the people that they victimize. And the cat ladies sort of went in there. The pirates arrived and they're like, "You can't do this anymore. This is like you're in fucking her land now."
Yeah.
And same with the Confederates, racists, slavers and stuff like that. They arrived into Simone's bayou.
That's her name, Simone.
Simone's bayou, and she's like, "No, you can't come into this bayou. you're cursed or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever she does to them.
I think she eats them or something. I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
Drains the life force out of them.
Yeah, takes their soul and stuff. Yeah, Scooby Doo Zombie Island, like what a classic.
A classic.
A classic childhood flick. I think everyone loves this film.
I think I had this film on DVD.
Yeah, I definitely.
Or
as
video.
well.
Video.
Yeah, video. Definitely a video film.
Yeah. Our first step into the Scooby Doo, expanded universe.
Yeah, it's great to see as well. It's probably the best Scooby Doo film.
Oh, easily.
So it's all downhill from here, but like this is just because this is 99 or 98, and this is after Scooby Doo's been on a hiatus for 10 years. The last major Scooby Doo film before this was Scooby Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf.
Oh yeah,
with Shaggy, where Shaggy turns into a werewolf and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that film. Actually,
I actually really like that film as well. But that had Scrappy in it. Scrappy's not in this, which is very notable.
Yeah, Scrappy's not in it from now on.
Yeah, he's only the villain in the live action films, but he's retconned from the Scooby Doo universe from this film onwards. And this is the beginning of an extremely long direct to video kind of trip that the Scooby Doo series went on, and is still going on as we speak. There was actually a sequel to this film released last year.
What? Really?
Yeah, Scooby Doo and the Return to Zombie Island, which is apparently absolutely terrible.
I can imagine so.
So, but yeah, this is great. This is a great one. Released direct to video, but it was massively marketed. $50 million in marketing was spent on this film.
Jesus.
Partnerships with toy companies and Burger King and stuff like that, just to get people to see, because they appreciate it. You can't watch this film and not be like, this is, wow, they did a really good job with this.
They did, yeah.
It's
pretty
very
good.
Very inventive, very imaginative. It uses the tropes extremely well. It's notable in terms of the Scooby Doo universe, with the fact, and this is something that was really emphasized in the marketing material, and how it sort of sold to audiences. The fact that the monsters are actually real in this one, and it's not a case of they pull the mask off at the end and it's the groundskeeper or whatever.
I love that bit where they try to take the mask off the zombie.
Yeah.
And he just pulls his head off.
Yeah, it's constantly alluded to in the film. The fact that even Daphne, she has a show or something.
Where she just goes around busting it up. This isn't real.
Yeah, basically just fact checking people, But then in this film, suddenly all rational explanations go out the window. Suddenly they're forced to confront the fact that ghosts and zombies and cat ladies and lesbians actually exist.
Lesbians actually exist.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy,
It is. It is a great film, though.
It's a great film.
And the zombies are fucking creepy.
Yeah, it's a very scary film for a child. Because Scooby Doo has always been, for some reason, a quote from Carl Sagan comes to mind. The way that he praised the Scooby Doo films for the fact that they sort of preach a really rational view of the world. There's always a very simple explanation for the most bizarre kind of phenomenon or whatever. The ghosts are always just a disgruntled groundskeeper who's lurking behind the walls or whatever. But in this one, it's you pull the fucking carpet from under your feet and you're there's no explanation here. This is just pure horror. This is pure terror. It's terror time is here, as the song says.
Yeah, terror time. That's
great song.
Yeah,
great soundtrack. Great soundtrack.
It actually is a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, if you're gonna look at this film as they're as through the queer lens or whatever, this is it's a pretty homophobic film.
Yeah.
Because it's just oh yeah, all the men had they're racists and the pirates and stuff like that. They're actually the good guys.
Yeah. Yeah, the Confederates and the pirates. That's so funny.
And one of the things that the one thing that I have a problem with this film is the alligator hunter. He's basically there is literally no need for him in the film.
What does he do?
He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he's just kind of there.
He's just there. But I think what we can view it as because he's going after this alligator, and he refers to her as he's going after a massive fish. And he's but he refers to the fish as a she or whatever. But we can see that as fish, whatever. Mark, don't please. No, that's not what I meant. The hunter going after the female image or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Actually, 100. Like that's definitely a thing you could do with this movie.
Yeah, this is definitely a gay film.
Yeah.
It's queer cinema.
It's queer cinema, but like homophobic. And shit.
It's just like it's a counter reading of the film. You know, like you really have to go back and look at it. When I was watching it when I was a kid, I never considered the fact that it's Confederate soldiers are the good guys. You know, obviously that has a lot of baggage. Maybe more so now than in 1998 or whatever. Like there wasn't as much of a pressing cultural issue, but it's like it is. It's you can read it in different ways.
Yeah,
you know.
Low key, Scooby Doo is cancelled. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Scooby Doo is definitely
Scooby Doo is a homophobe. You know,
Yeah.
Daphne and fucking Velma are gay as fuck as well. And Fred's
definitely
gay.
Yeah, Fred is infamously gay. Like he's the gayest character in any sort of like, you know, those children's cartoons. And in this, they like him and Daphne have this awkward kind of romantic kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I never noticed that until today when I watched it today. Like I didn't know that was the way they hint at it with Fred and the Simone's partner in crime, whatever her name is. Like she's coming on to Fred like in every scene that they're together. But like,
and Fred's like kind of like low key. He's enjoying it, but he's also kind of oblivious to it.
yeah, he's also like, you know, I'm not into that kind of thing. So, and then like obviously they're sort of him and Daphne are sort of forced together as they usually are in the films at the end. But like, you know, there's different ways you can think about this whole thing, this whole quagmire.
The bayou,
the swamp,
back in the swamp once again, Mark.
Back. Keeps
we just keep
pulling us back in.
Just when I try to leave, they pull me back in.
Yeah,
it's a great film though. It's a great kids film.
It is. It's lovely.
Scooby Doo and the boys
just doing their thing. You know, they really pull it off well. Like you can't dislike a film that just sort of executes what it's trying to do like so competently. Like it's a very competent film. Like there's nothing insane about it. It doesn't break any new ground really. Maybe even like within the Scooby Doo universe, it sort of recedes in the sense that it's just like a conventional kind of horror story or ghost story or whatever. But at the same time, it's like it just pulls everything off so well that you just have to enjoy it, and the whole setup as well, and like the fact that they reunite at the end at the beginning. It's like very cathartic kind of thing. It is,
yeah. I love that bit though. Where he's just like, "Oh, I got a surprise," and it's just like Shag and Scoob and Velma just pop out.
Yeah, exactly.
And Daffy's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, because apparently before this, it had only been Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy in like the films and the animated series.
The three boys.
Yeah, from like all through the
Girls'
80s.
School and whatever.
Yeah, and the 90s and stuff. So like Fred and Velma and Daphne were just sort of discarded in the late 70s. So this is kind of their comeback.
Yeah.
So it's like the reunion of the gang. So it's a milestone moment in the Scooby Doo universe.
And it's by far the best one.
Oh yeah.
Although
from what I remember.
Yeah, from what I remember as well. I remember Cyber Chase being fun.
Yeah, that is a fun film.
But I just love those films where they just jump from different like kind of video games or whatever. They're always fun.
Yeah, and the parallel universe like version of the gang and stuff.
Yeah. I can't remember what the setup to that film is.
They're in a computer lab and
but that's
there's like a virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that shit's real as well though, technically.
What do you mean?
Like it's like, you know, in our technological world, you know, the things in the screen are just as real as the things out of the screen.
Yeah, this fucking cyber guy, whatever his name is, like he's real.
He's real.
He's out there. He's a Russian troll running around cyberspace.
Fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Scoob and the gang gotta get him. Oh, we did that one next, Cyber Chase.
Yeah.
Sounds
I think that's the chronology. I think so.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. I'm happy to go back into. I'm
Let's
happy
do
to
it.
start running through the Cyber Chase again. And now onto our recommended film of the 2 weeks, not the week, but I don't know why we chose this, but anyway.
Fremont Power, Fremont Pride, go Fremont!
We can't allow you to live an unhealthy lifestyle under our roof.
I'm not perverted. I get good grades. I go to church. I'm a cheerleader.
But I'm a Cheerleader, directed by Jamie Babbitt, starring Natasha Leon. Is that her second name?
I don't know.
I think it is. Oh yeah, Leon, I'm pretty sure is her name. And let me just double check. Yeah, Natasha Lyonne. Yeah. So this stars Megan is an all-American girl, a cheerleader. She has a boyfriend, but Megan doesn't like kissing her boyfriend very much, and she's pretty touchy with her cheerleader friends. Her conservative parents worry that she must be a lesbian and send her off to sexual redirection school, where she must, with other lesbians and gays, learn how to be straight. What do you think of this?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
It's good.
It's classic. It's great.
Yeah, it's very visually appealing.
Oh yeah.
And even like the sound and the music is very, very good.
Soundtrack slaps.
Yeah, it's like a mid 2000s kind of romp or teen comedy kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's like the final conclusion of that kind of vibe. Except this was released in like 1999, I think. So ahead of his time in that respect.
Yeah, I think it's like a summer camp film.
Yeah, it's really pleasant to watch. Like it's not like a niche kind of thing. It's not like it obviously takes a lot from like John Waters and stuff, but it's not that neat. Like like anyone can watch this basically, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's very funny as well.
It's funny, and I like the like chapters that goes through like each step or whatever.
Yeah.
Really well done. Yeah, so it starts off with we're introduced to Megan, and I like the way that like this film like kind of puts you in her shoes, whatever. Because when she's kissing her boyfriend, fuck me, that was awful to watch. Like you feel the discomfort that she feels kissing her boyfriend, because like, obviously Megan doesn't realize that, but Megan's a lesbian, and that's why she doesn't like to kiss her boyfriend. But
it's also I think anyone would enjoy that.
Yeah, like fucking like washing machine kisses is what she's getting.
Yeah.
But like I think the purpose of that is like it's fucking awful, and it's like kind of embarrassing to watch, whatever. But it's because Megan is a lesbian and she's uncomfortable kissing boys, and that's why it's like literally it's visually showing you the discomfort, because when you're watching like you're gagging at it. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's mad campy and exaggerated. You know, and obviously a lot to do with like sort of breaking down, like sort of like multiple Maniacs. It's like abstract kind of or abstraction, sort of like breaking down the barriers of different social, cultural norms and stuff like that. You obviously have like sexuality and gender as well to an extent. Like a lot of it is
gender identity.
Most of the characters are like stereotypes. Like she's a cheerleader, and like her love interest is like kind of like the butch character, and you have like the jocks and stuff like that, and like the like all the other people at the conversion camp or whatever. But like it's all on purpose. Like it's not stereotyping in like a really crude or ignorant way. It's like it's sort of part of the text. Like that's the point, that they're like these characters, like these stock characters within like a universe. That the whole point is like the bigger picture, not just like specific characters and how they relate to themselves. You know, it's how they relate to everyone else.
Yeah, it's good.
It is.
I like his like because like the colors I think are like pretty monumental to this film. Like the harsh blues and the really vibrant pinks, very like sets the two in a binary. Where when you're in the conversion therapy camp, whatever, like they're segmented into blues and pinks or whatever. But when they go to the gay bar, all the colors are mixed together, and it's all very fluid. And how gender identity isn't just simply girls wear pink, boys wear blue. It's a lot more mixed, and you can be whoever you want to be. And it is definitely, I think it is very much focused on gender identity and gender roles, because it is just like the boys practice playing football, whereas the girls practice like fucking washing the floor.
Yeah,
and it's like you have to rediscover your gender identity, because when you rediscover your gender identity, that's when you realize what your role in society is. And that is that like, oh, you like the boys go out to get to work and the girls stay home to clean and cook or whatever, take care of the home. One of the things I noticed as well when I was watching the film is that the little cutouts that the boys have beside them, like the they're like standing beside like soldiers and like trees and stuff like that, but like the trees all look like dicks. And there's like a cutout of like a soldier and like
with a gun,
like holding at his hip or whatever, and there's another soldier like kneeling on the ground.
There's loads of like background kind of jokes and stuff, little like Easter eggs. It's like a part of the psychosphere, It's like everything has some sort of Freudian reading to it, but like that's the joke. Like, it's not like some deep reading to it. Like it's really immediate and it's really obvious in the film. Like it's funny.
Yeah, because like American football is a pretty homoerotic sport.
Yeah.
Like big burly men smashing into each other, sticking their head in between each other's asses and stuff like that. Like
yeah. Like the scenes where they're going through the different sort of tasks that like men and women are traditionally associated with within the nuclear family or whatever. Like the women are doing like hoovering and like cleaning the floor and stuff, and the men are or I think RuPaul is teaching them how to change the gas or change the oil in like a car or whatever. And it's just all the guys are just like staring at his
crotch.
Yeah, at his crotch. Who wants to get down here with me? And just, everyone's like popping.
Like, me.
Yeah, it's just like it's so funny. It's like really campy, kind of like giddy kind of humor. You know, it's very it's
giddy humor. Yeah.
It's really enjoyable.
Yeah,
you know, good vibes.
It is good
like,
vibes.
You know?
And it's a very wholesome movie as well.
Yeah.
As well as, you know, obviously the awful homophobia that like the conservative characters have, but they're all the villains. Like I think I read something that like the way that Jamie Babbitt directed it was that she made all the straight characters like really unlikable. Like all of them are fucking awful. They're all arseholes. And like that adds to like, you know, the heteronormativism, I think is what they call it, normativity. Normativity. That we of a society or whatever, where like, you know, straight people very much imposing their will on, you know, the people of the LGBT community. And yeah, it's good. I think as well, like one of the like kind of key moments in the film is when one of the girls, I don't know any of their names, but one of the girls, the really like really butch girl
with the mohawk.
And everything, and she stands up and is like, I'm not even gay. It's like, I just like dressing like this. But like the idea that if you like or do X, you must be gay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's like, just because I'm not as pretty as other girls or stuff like that. Like I don't act like other girls. I'm not as feminine as other girls. That means I'm gay. She's like, I'm not gay. I'm straight. I've always been straight. And they're like, stop lying to yourself. You know, it's like you're a failure because she walks out of the camp. But that's like a really really key scene in terms of like the nuance of what they're going for. You know, like it's not just about like sort of the binary of sexuality. It's like gender identity itself, sort of like the universe of that kind of thing. You know, like you don't have to necessarily be gay if you're like a butch woman. You know, like maybe she's straight as well. It's like it's all you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
You know.
Yeah.
You can't assume.
Yeah.
You know?
Cause and like, you know, also like mind your own fucking business, you know, like stop getting into people's business. And I like the way that it is very much a critique of white picket fence suburban America. Like she's a cheerleader, and her boyfriend's a jock. Like and her parents live in a white picket fence house and everything, and it's like, you know, the nuclear family or whatever. And like it's just a critique of that, because it's like, oh yeah, we're a perfect family. But if you don't follow like what we as your parents want you to be, we'll just kick you out of the house, and they do.
Yeah, I like the fact that she's like this feminine. She's a mad stereotype. Like she's like this mad feminine, very pretty girl. She's a cheerleader, and she's like, you know, a girlfriend of like the main, you know, the alpha jock or whatever in the school. But at the same time, and like when she like accepts the fact that she's a lesbian, like she doesn't go back on any of that. She doesn't reverse her position. She doesn't like change herself. Like she still like loves cheerleading, and like that's how she sort of wins over or like convinces her love interest at the end of the film. You know, doing her cheerleading kind of act. Like the act isn't really associated with who you are, like, or how you perform. Your identity isn't associated with what you sort of, you know, your sexuality or any of those kinds of things, or your gender. So it's like key nuance. A lot of like it's a very tropey film, but like it's all very on purpose. It's like the camp kind of principle. It's all very intentional, and it's you're supposed to not read it at face value. It's like sort of it's like the contradiction is in there on purpose. You know? That's the whole point. Like we're all full of contradictions, and that's the point of the film. You know. Yeah. And that's the point of gender identity, I suppose.
Oh yeah. Now that you mention it, I think I didn't really get the how the cheerleader stuff came into it, but now that you say, like, yeah, she is doing a very stereotypical, you know, straight, I guess, thing to do, which is, you know, be a cheerleader, have a jock boyfriend or whatever. But like, she still likes cheerleading, and she says to like her girlfriend, No, like I love cheerleading and it makes me like it's a lot of fun. I take a lot of pride in it,
Yeah.
but that doesn't define me as a person. Like this is just one aspect of my identity. You know, I can be gay and still like cheerleading.
yeah, exactly.
And even like and then all the other characters as well. Like you have the guy and he's in Hook. Dante.
Yeah, Dante Basco.
Yeah, Dante Basco.
What a name! The cast.
Yeah,
of
the
this-
cast is a fucking
the
amazing cast.
But the names: Dante Basco, Kip Pardue, RuPaul,
Jamie Babbitt, just her
yeah,
name.
Mink Stoll, Bud Court. You know, Douglas Spain. It's like I own Sky. Like, what's this about? You know?
Oh, Wesley Mann as well. That dude, he's great.
The guy, yeah.
The guy with the eyes, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that's in Back to the Future. Oh man, I feel like I've seen him in other things.
Yeah, he's been in loads of stuff.
But I like as well that like so there's like the kind of, how do you describe it? The like gay, the gay house. I don't know how to describe it. Like the kind of like getaway house or whatever. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah,
the kind of commune.
Called the gay house. Yeah.
Those two men have easily the most healthy relationship I have ever seen in a fucking film ever, where one guy is like, I feel like you're kind of undermining me, and it's like, oh, I don't mean to do that, and they talk about their feelings and then they resolve the fucking issue within the scene. And like it's like what the, like these guys talk really weirdly, but it is that they're so in touch with who they are as human beings that they're able to communicate with each other extremely well and get over this like this thing that like if you didn't communicate it properly, it would become a bigger issue and become an actual argument. But because they're in touch with who they are and they're okay with communicating with each other, they get over it.
Yeah, then they like save all the kids from the conversion camp and stuff. And they refer to it as was it the Homo Underground Railroad?
Yeah, the Homo Underground Railroad.
It's great, like
It's great. It's so
That's
good.
very funny.
Oh, also you have hold on, the lesbian at the bar. That's someone as well. That's someone.
Is it?
Yeah, that's someone fucking huge. Who the fuck is that?
Is it? At the bar?
Yeah, at the bar.
Which one?
You know the blonde-haired one at the bar that Megan kind of like starts dancing with and then she goes away from. That's someone huge. I feel like that's something like fucking.
Oh no, Julie Delpy. Oh no, she's in Before Midnight, Before Sunset. All that
That's
stuff.
what it is.
Yeah,
yes.
I know. I saw that as well. I was like, I don't know her name, but I know she is.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what it is. Yeah, before that.
Julie
yeah.
Delpy. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's great in it as well.
She's great.
She plays an amazing lesbian at the bar.
Yeah. She really works. Really plays it off.
Yeah, but this film definitely is very much like, and like it is like obviously true, like, you know, queer theory or whatever. It does like, you know, unleash the kind of like bullshit of gender roles and gender identity, like, as in like the binary of it. Like it does, like through that lens, it reveals all this stuff that, like, you know, I don't most of the time on this podcast, you know, we kind of take I feel like the like kind of Marxist lens, because that's, you know, easily accessible for us to like read into.
Yeah. It's our
Like,
language.
It's our language, and like, you know, it's good to fucking watch films that are like outside of the cinema language. And a film like But I'm a Cheerleader is such a great entry point into that realm of cinema, because it's really easy to read. Like it's so easy to read the film.
Yeah.
Through the use of color, through the use of color alone, it's so easy to read what's going on.
Yeah. Like I was thinking when I was watching multiple Maniacs, it kind of there's a point where there's like this really like sort of dramatic but like comedic scene where Divine gets raped by these glue sniffers, and the glue sniffers just reminded me of Tumblr from Gummo.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is sort of it's sort of like Gummo, like it's sort of like carnivalesque kind of episodic kind of vibe, and there's like voiceovers and stuff and like weird sentences that go nowhere, and the camera work's all weird. And then like in relation to something like this, like But I'm a Cheerleader, which is obviously massively influenced by John Waters and like the camp kind of genre.
The camp canon.
Yeah, the camp canon. And like you can sort of relate to like Spring Breakers or something like that, which is way easier to read compared to Gummo, but it's like candy, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it's something that basically anyone can watch, and you can vibe with whatever it's trying to do, no matter how like whatever abstract things are going on underneath the hood. You know, but it still has it doesn't lose any of the complexity and like the sophistication of the more, you know, harder to understand sort of varieties of the genre.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That kind of
100%.
thing, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of, kind of, you know.
Mm.
But like I wouldn't know much about these kinds of films, so
Yeah.
there's probably a better comparison out there. But that's what came to mind when I
Yeah, we're
watched
too
it.
normies when it comes to this like field of
we're
film.
way too normy. Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, and I really like this film. I think this is a fantastic film.
yeah, it's very good.
And even like, and it's funny as well. It's really funny.
Yeah, it's really funny. Yeah, RuPaul is great in it.
Yeah, RuPaul's
didn't-
great in it.
I didn't know he was an actor.
I don't know if he's acted that much in things.
Yeah, I thought he was just like a drag queen, and I was like, because I was watching this and I was about an hour in, and I was like, that guy's head is so, like, I know that guy's skull shape. Like I know who that guy is, but I didn't know who he was. So I just looked up the cast. It's RuPaul. It looks nothing like him, but at the same time, it can only be RuPaul.
I think it's because like it's RuPaul, but he's playing like a really like masculine character that I like, because he has like stubble and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is that? Like I
Yeah.
recognize it, but I don't know who it is.
His head is like fatter or something like that.
I think it's just because he's younger.
Yeah. It's so weird.
I love that.
He's great in it. Like.
He's great in it.
Yeah.
And I love those bits where it's just like where they're like they kind of refer to it as an addiction, kind of, where it's just like I've been straight for 2 years or something like that.
Yeah.
But like the like camp counselor, her son is like super fucking like he's like very clearly gay or whatever, and I don't understand why he's not in, because if his mom is the camp counselor, why he's not in it. But anyway, I guess that I don't know.
He's been reformed.
Yeah, there's probably like a reading there that I'm just missing or whatever. But like how like RuPaul's character like looks at him and is like licking his lips, or whatever. It's like no, you're not. You don't overcome being who you are. like that's never gonna happen.
That's hilarious.
You're just like pushing it down and like trying to like put yourself into put who you are into a box basically, and like bury it underneath the like society that's like over you or whatever.
Yeah. Trying to box yourself up.
Don't do that. Don't bottle it up.
Don't bother.
Be who you are.
That's basically what it says. A very abrupt ending though. Very abrupt.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
She gets in the truck and it's like.
Yeah, it just ends. Yeah. That's one of the problems I had with the film. Is like, wow, that was a really sudden ending.
Yeah, it's like they just lost funding. It's like they didn't plan the budget too well. They're like, lads, this is our last day.
Get into the fucking truck and we're ending this.
Yeah. Other than that, it's listed as being like 96 minutes, but like 15 of those last minutes are just credits.
Yeah, the credits are really long. Yeah.
But that's sort of a good thing, as well as like sort of the abrupt ending being a bad thing, because like in reality this film is actually about 1 hour and 50 minutes long.
Yeah, which
is like, wow, great. Amazing to see. You know, it's like popping a candy. So it's just in and out. In and out. That's also a joke in the film.
I think one of the best like kind of like lines in the film is funny is where like the butch girl is like, and I was like, I'm fucking straight, like I want the dick like in you or whatever. And one of the guys like, same honey. Like the most he's like the biggest twink I have ever fucking seen.
Yeah. Some of them are so funny.
Oh god. And I love them all. I love the entire cast. They're all great. Well, all the gay ones are all great. They're all lovable. They're all fantastic. All the straight ones are fucking awful human beings.
There's only like few. Well, their parents.
All their parents are. They're the worst. They're the worst.
No, they're barely in it. Like, to be fair, except for the camp counselor. Like.
But I think as well, like one of the things that the film does is that like when you're young, you kind of like the pressures on you. In a need to like dependency on your parents, and if your parents just decide get the fuck out of my house because you're gay or whatever, like you are by yourself.
It's over.
And like that is like a danger and a problem that like I don't know, probably millions face across the entire fucking world, and like it's in this film.
Yeah, she gets threatened with homelessness. Like imagine that's bad out. Like bad out
for like being who you are. Like
disowned.
But she finds solace in the gay community.
Yeah.
The gay community take her in.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're her new home, or her new family, I guess. I guess they are like a family as well. All the gays in the film.
The motley crew, Yeah. It's pretty cool. It is. It's a good film.
It's a good film. move on to some listener questions.
Let's do some listener questions.
If you want to ask us a question, you can hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at paro_pod, or you can send us an email at theparopod@gmail.com. Our first question comes in from Jack, and Jack is asking us, what are you reading at the moment?
I'm reading. I'm actually reading poetry at the moment because my attention span has been whittled down to a pathetic little nub by YouTube and stuff like that. So I only read poems at the moment. I'm reading Federico Garcia Lorca. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. Spanish guy. He's from Andalusia. Very cool guy. Active in the 20s and 30s. He was executed by Francoist forces in Andalusia in 1934, which was or 1936. Not very good. Like, not great for him. Gay as well. So he's like a sort of a trailblazer back in those days because it wasn't cool to be gay, obviously. And his poetry is like very, very Spanish. A lot of guitars and moons and stuff, and wine and stuff. Like a lot of mention of those kinds of things. He lived in New York for 2 years, and he hated it. He hates Anglos and stuff, which I can really get on board with. So I was like, sign me up, you know. I love you, Federico.
I love you, man.
But yeah, he's good. It's good.
I love you, Federico.
Yeah, I haven't been reading novels really.
Nah, yeah, man, novels
Yeah,
out the fucking bag there. They're gone.
yeah, for like 2
Done.
months.
I have this green fucking reading novels. Done.
I have a degree in novels. I've finished reading
Fucking
novels. Yeah. I'm reading some like non-fiction historical stuff, but like it's like dipping in and out. I was reading Society of the Spectacle as well, but like it's all aphorisms, so like you can basically dip in and out whenever you want. Like when I read it, I'll read a chapter, but there's like the chapters are pretty kind of disconnected, so you don't have to read it all in a certain sequence, I think.
Yeah, it's really well done. Sorry, I was yawning there. You know, it's really well.
Okay.
It's really well done. Society of Spectacle is great.
Ah.
It's so dense, though.
Yeah. I think it wouldn't be as dense if you didn't make it so clear that these are like discrete ideas. Like all of them are like, because once you read the end of every sentence, you're like, wow, I have to really think about this now before I go on to the next one. If it was all packed into one, you'd be like, you just sort of go through it, I think.
Yeah, you read like a paragraph and you just close the book and you sit there like stroking your chin, thinking about it.
Yeah, because like I dropped it about a month ago, and I haven't gotten back to it, but like I will, you know, next few days or like next week or whatever. But like it's because I got to I think it was the end of like chapter 4, and there's like a point he makes at the end of chapter 4, and I was like, wow, I've never thought about that before.
Yeah, because I remember like when I was reading Society of the Spectacle, like just there are just like one line in the book or whatever, and you're just like you kind of like the first line of like a paragraph or whatever, and you just kind of have to stop and like, wow, I never thought about it that way before, and like what the fuck, like really powerful like a really powerful book filled with like really amazing ideas and really well executed. No,
that's the worst part. It's not long at all.
Yeah.
You know, that's why it's so embarrassing that it's so hard to read. It's not even written in, but like, you know, mad jargon or anything.
No, it's pretty straightforward. It's just the ideas are so dense.
Yeah.
I'm reading fucking Manufacturing Consent by Edward S. Herman and Noam Chomsky. Manufacturing Consent: The Political Economy of the Mass Media.
Oh God.
Yeah, classic of media studies. Yeah, I think we read a bit of this for college, but we didn't have to read the full book. So I was like, fuck it, I have it there. Might as well read it. Wow, America's a fucking evil country.
Oh yeah. What does he elaborate on in terms of like American foreign policy and stuff?
Oh yeah, American foreign policy and like just the fucking like, what country is it? It's fucking El Salvador and some other South American country that I can't remember the name of. But just how
Guatemala or something.
It's Guatemala. There's 3: Guatemala, El Salvador, and there's a third one. But the third one is like
Nicaragua.
Yes, and that's the
Sandinistas. God bless them. God bless them.
And that's the ones that have like, you know, a tie to, you know, communism, whatever. But how like the great thing about like what they did was they took like a case. They like really looked at like how the media at the time, and like they pull up the articles and like they like list them and show like how many articles there were about this and this and this, and how like just the bullshit that like American like mass media does, where they give it an example that in Poland there was a priest that was killed by a bunch of police officers, And so what the American media did was they were like, oh, see, communism is fucking evil. But in El Salvador, basically the exact same thing happened, but it was a right-wing government, and El Salvador has ties to America, and America kind of fund them or whatever. Not mentioned at all, like not brought up whatsoever. And just like how brutal El Salvador was, and how like it really like crushed and like destroyed any like left-leaning protest or whatever. But America would just kind of throw a blind eye to it. And it was really funny when I was reading it. And then
it was funny.
It was funny, like
laughing,
laugh out loud. I was like, that's fucking gas. No, like the funny thing was when I was reading it, I was reading through those chapters, or whatever, and then you have what the fuck is your man's name? Harris, the fucking Garda commissioner.
Drew Harris.
Harris coming out and being like, yeah, during the lockdown protests, we see sides from the left and right, and I was like, well, there was no evidence that the left were there. And then he he quickly retracted or whatever. But that is literally what America would do with El Salvador. Would be like, oh yeah, there's examples of the left and the right having violence, whereas it was literally just the right. But you have to throw the far left under the bus because you don't want those extreme ideas coming in either. And it's pretty eye-opening stuff, especially with like fucking. I'm on the chapter now where they're dealing with Vietnam. Wow, holy shit! Like, that's just bad vibes.
Yeah,
just
that's
bad vibes.
Not good vibes, you know. What's the examples of Vietnam?
Just like how the My Lai massacre. Yeah, how like there's like a quote from like some general saying like, you don't really understand why people are so up in arms about that. Like, we did that all the time. Like, it happened over and over again, but for some reason like the My Lai massacre was the one that like went over the edge or whatever.
Yeah.
But how up until that point, because the way that they say like the media or whatever were the ones that lost the war. Bullshit. Like, the media were completely on the side of America the whole way, and if they actually were trying to like accurately show what America were doing, like American society or the country or the people whatever would have turned against the war way fucking quicker, because they were literally just massacring people and just kind of ignoring that was happening.
Yeah, media, man. It all comes down to the media.
Yeah,
it all comes down to
especially like nowadays.
Yeah,
fucking like
especially nowadays. Like back in the day, you had union newspapers, or you had Pravda.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, they actually mentioned Pravda in this as well.
Yeah, whatever about Pravda, or like those propaganda newspapers from like the Soviet Union. Like they had that was at least a voice. It was like a sort of counterbalance against things like the New York Times or like the Washington Post, which are like CIA fanzines basically. Yeah. But like nowadays, you don't have you've no union newspapers. You've no like worker newspapers. You've no Soviet newspapers don't exist. Communist newspapers don't really exist, or if they do, they exist within like very small circles within the party. It's all just like it's literally all owned by rich people basically, which is not great for the public sphere.
No.
And Chomsky's model is all about like the different filters and stuff, isn't it? Like there's
like 6 different filters.
Yeah, and he wrote that in '89, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's still relevant today.
Yeah, but he wrote it in '89, and obviously that year and the year after, Soviet Union fell. So obviously things completely changed. Like things have actually gotten significantly worse since the time that he wrote the book, which is pretty. I suppose if you read the book, it makes it even worse. It's like it doubles how bad things are.
Yeah, because you're just like, well, they have it, because there's a point where they're showing like how like the New York Times and like Washington Post or whatever would just like the Pentagon would tell them basically will release a news statement or whatever, and they would rely just on that, and they wouldn't look at any other news sources or whatever, and they were so inaccurate as to what was actually happening in America. Whereas if you look at like Chinese newspapers and stuff like that, they're like way more accurate as to like what was going on in Vietnam and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's fucked.
Yeah, it's how you perceive the world,
Yeah, because this
and
is
someone
like
controls it,
Yeah, and like it's a group of small individuals that like control it.
Yeah.
Especially because like in America, like you can really clearly see like government and like corporations are like very much the same thing.
Same vibe.
They're all trying to have the same shit. They're all trying to like pose the same ideas or whatever.
Yeah. Chomsky has loads of. He always speaks up in the media about stuff like that. Like he had a great one about Syria. Like one of the gas attacks, the White House made a big deal about. I think it was the time that Trump bombed one of the Syrian bases, and Chomsky went on to Russia Today, which is like, in like Western media, they're like, oh, that's a sign that he's compromised or whatever. But it's more like he wasn't allowed to go onto CNN or like to Sky News or whatever. Like they wouldn't hear him. They wouldn't hear his opinion. But he's on RT Today or
RT Today.
RT Today. He's on Today FM. He's talking to Joe Duffy there. No, he's on Russia Today. He's like talking about like there's like a White House press release which was supposed to provide evidence that like this thing happened, that this gas attack actually happened, and he made like a really obvious sort of observation in the image that they linked in within the press release, which sort of proved itself that the munition couldn't have been dropped from the sky because there was no crater beneath it. And he was like, you know the way he talks, he's like, this is a really obvious case of American imperialism. He's like, it's just his face, and he's like dying. He's about to die at any moment.
He's so old.
he's like I don't know. He's like 90 something. Well, like he still keeps up the good fight till today. But yeah, he's a king. He's a king, you know. He's a king.
One of my favorite things he's probably ever said was that, like, you ever see the clips of, like, I don't know what the context was, but it's like some like Jordan Peterson fans asking him what does he think about Jordan Peterson or whatever, or does he agree with Jordan Peterson on anything? And Chomsky's Jewish, and he said something like, well, I'm pretty sure there's some things I agree with Hitler on. And he's just like, yeah, obviously there's some things I agree with Jordan Peterson. I still think he's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. He says some silly stuff sometimes. But like he's a real like free speech absolutist. Like he'll let anyone say their piece. Which is respectable in a way.
And then he'll tear them apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Tear them apart. He's like 94, yeah. But he does his best. Yeah. You know, God bless him.
He tries.
His little mole man, you know. Little leftist mole man.
Is there any books that you're aiming to read this year?
Aiming to read? I want to read Gravity's Rainbow. I want to read
Nice.
it. Not this year probably, but maybe next year.
Start reading flicks of it anyway.
Yeah. I want to get into that, you know. I need more pinch on in my life, I think.
Have you read any of his other stuff?
I read a lot of Inherent Vice. I'd stopped at some point. That was a while ago though. So
you should read Bleeding Edge.
No, I've never read that.
I'll give you Bleeding Edge. You should read Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge is really good. I think Inherent Vice might have came out after it, but it's one of his new ones, like one of his newer ones. It's about 9/11 and cyberspace and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And virtual reality and whatever.
That guy's mad. He's like 85 talking about cyberspace.
Yeah, I know.
Like, chill out, bro. Like, you've done enough. You know?
But the funny thing, when he's talking about when he's talking about like getting into virtual reality or whatever, or like just being in the internet, he describes in this really weird way that's just like, this makes no sense. Because like what like, you know, obviously when he's talking about a computer or whatever, you know, I imagine a computer, but he like describes it as like a physical body moving through space and like, you know, like actually like surfing the web. I was like, God, that makes literally no sense, but like, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, big man. Is he not having a new book coming out?
Hopefully. I'm always up for a new binging. Probably. Yeah. He just seems to be always writing.
Yeah.
I definitely want to read more non-fiction this year. I want to read one pension book, but that might not happen.
What non-fiction are you going to read?
I'm gonna read. I have the Antifa handbook by Mark Bray over there. Wanna read Malcolm X's autobiography. What the fuck else do I have? Oh, the fucking Chaos. Tom Neal goes through Manson. That's his name, Charles Manson, and like his ties to the CIA and stuff like that. So they're the books I want to read this year.
Yeah, that's a show. Sean is asking. Pandemic protests? ? So
I'm assuming what's our opinion on the pandemic protests?
Aye.
As two dudes that have had coronavirus, Mark, what you think about it?
I'm not a big fan.
Not a big fan.
I'm not a big fan of the protests. I wouldn't be at that now myself. I was at one of them accidentally in town before. But like it was like, you know, the small ones. Like they have one like every week. You know, fucking crazy people, and they have like a mic. And the Garda just sit around literally laughing in a circle. It's so bizarre. Like so 4 or 5 Garda. And then it's just loads of like fucking insane people. screaming into a microphone about like, God, they're taking away our freedoms and stuff. But it's like most of it is just like so obviously copied and pasted from like American Facebook groups and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like cute. Some of the. Did you see that one with the RTE taking our babies and the vampire shit? Like that's just straight up QAnon bullshit.
Yeah, that's my biggest like. Obviously, it is like kind of you know, it's bad as it is. Like, but I also take umbrage with the fact that it's like cultural appropriation of American fucking bollocks.
Yeah,
you know, it's like at least be original in what you're trying to do. You know, like don't just copy and paste what fucking Paul John Watson or whatever his name is told you, or like Alex Jones or something. At least have an Irish take on it. Don't be like, oh, our liberties are being, you know, fucking
being questioned or whatever, being restricted.
You know, I don't like that whole thing. I think it's a bit silly. Like, obviously, people are getting tired of it at this stage, and they have reason to.
Yeah, you have every right to be. It's less so like the people that are just like, I'm just tired of fucking lockdowns, and like they're clearly not working because I agree the lockdowns clearly aren't fucking working in Ireland. But Ireland is like very different for other countries. Like every other country is getting on with this, but Ireland is the only one that has seemingly been stuck in a fucking lockdown for like most of the fucking year. Like level 5, like proper lockdown most of the fucking year last year, whereas other countries just seemingly have gotten over it.
Yeah,
and it's
horrible.
It's our fucking government's fault for that, you know.
Yeah. Like look at China right now. China's open. Like
China is fucking grand.
It started there, and now China is open. You know, we should have done what the Chinese did back in March. This day last year, should have started welding doors shut and like arresting anyone who went outside. You know, do that for 2 weeks. Like it's like a meme now. Like 2 weeks of lockdown, we'll be out of it. You know, because like referencing last year, if we'd actually done that full China style last year, 2 weeks, no one allowed outside, we'd be grand right now. And obviously the whole thing with like people from London coming in. Like literally actively importing people from the biggest coronavirus hotspot on earth at Christmas time was not a good idea at the time. It was never a good idea, and obviously that played badly in our favor. But there's a lot of mistakes. But I definitely understand when people are frustrated. But at the same time, I think it's at this stage it's pretty much over anyway. Like just fucking forget about it. Yeah,
like we're getting to the end of it at this stage. Like, you know, it's not gonna be here in 2022. Like it's not. In the summer
things will be back to normal.
If we were in the lockdown in 2022, like I personally am gonna hunt down people. God, I'm gonna delete that because they're gonna get fucking the Guardian.
We're gonna start an underground cell network where you won't know our you know, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
You watch.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the next podcast on our Patreon exclusive,
our terrorist episode.
But yeah, like
it's fucked. No, yeah, it's like
I understand why. Like I'm fucking sick of this as well. But like, you know, it's for the greater good, you know. And you know, after having Corona and you know having him like, yeah, this could 100% kill people. Like, like I had the flu last year, as in 2019, and yeah, like that was a pretty bad flu. But like, Corona isn't just some flu. Like after having both, you know, the flu beforehand, it's not the same at all. Like your body is like different after having it for a couple of days.
It actually is, yeah.
Few weeks out. Like I thankfully, like, you know, I seemingly sweated it out of my body. Man, I never sweated so much in my life. Like that one night, fuck me.
You have to exercise yourself. You know, you have to like. It was like a fucking exorcism.
Oh man, seriously, my body fucking moved something out of my body.
It worked.
But like, when I woke up the next morning, like I could barely get out of bed. I was like, "Fuck!" Like, and I was like,
so tired.
I was like, "Thank God I'm not like, you know, older, because this would be bad if I was older." And like in regards to my family, my dad had it, and my dad's lungs filled up with liquid. You know, wasn't doing too good. He was able to get over it, but like again, you know. Don't think that it's not, like, you might think that everyone's fine. No, like it's not fine. It is worth it, you know. Like it's just, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's only been a year, you know. It's in the grand scheme of things, it's just a year.
You know,
a year off. Like, you know, all you have to do is sit at home.
Yeah.
Also, pandemic protest isn't like the government aren't just gonna open up. Like that's just not gonna happen at this stage.
Yeah. Plus, like it could have been worse in terms of like you look at the States and stuff. Like they've got what $2,000 over the course of an entire year.
Mm-hmm.
That's 1,500 quid over the course of an entire year to support themselves for a full year.
Yeah.
Like I would understand if I understand to some extent protests in America. Like, why aren't the government like helping us out? The fact we can't go outside, but we also, you know,
there's no way of making money.
Yeah, we also, you know, we've no money and all that stuff. But here, like, we're pretty like government are bad and all, but it could have been a lot worse. Really, is what I mean.
Could have been a lot better as well. Like $350 a week for like someone that is like, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
For like has kids, like, you know, for us it's fucking grand, but like, you know, for someone that has kids,
no, yeah, they should have
not enough.
They should have had rent freezes and mortgage freezes and stuff like that. But like it could have been a lot worse, like in America and stuff. I think it was a lot more understandable before Christmas because like we had such a low kind of rate. Like I didn't know anyone who'd ever had it. Like, I didn't know personally anyone who had coronavirus until I got a text saying, "Oh, you have coronavirus."
You got it, bro.
Yeah. So like, I think everyone knows someone now. So like, it's very different now. Like, I don't think there's any justification for the pandemic and shit like that. Load of bollocks, you know.
Yeah, plan that.
You're like, chill out, man. Chill out.
No.
Look it up.
Just not for it.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's a thing. It's real. You know, we've both had it.
Yeah, we've both been there.
You know, my dad nearly had to go. Like, thankfully, because my dad has has a history or whatever. So when his lungs filled up with fucking liquid, he knew what to do, and he's okay. But if he, as he said, like if he hadn't had that happen to him before, because my dad was in hospital before, and he didn't know, you know, what you're meant to do in that situation, and if he was to lie down, he would have been fucked. He would have been fucked. He stayed up all night, just like concentrating on his breathing for an entire night, or like hoping that the fucking liquid would, like, you know, drain out of his lungs or whatever. Because that's mad that your lungs can do that.
Yeah,
fills with liquid, but then it just like eases out, whatever. But he did that, and he was grand. But as he said, like if he was to lie down in bed, he would have been rushed into the hospital the next morning, and you know, who would have known what happened to my dad if that happened, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, that's
scary stuff.
It could be your dad. It could be your mom. It could be your granny. It could be fucking anyone, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
It's fucked.
It's fucked. And, like, how many deaths have there been in America?
Was it 200, 300,000, something like that?
Like 200,000 in America. That is fucking insane.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of fucking people. It's really sad.
Yeah.
Because there's like 200,000 people that didn't have to die.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Just
I like, you know the way, like, some people would say the point, like, yeah, but those people are going to die anyways. Like, we're all going to die fucking eventually.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of what's going to when it's going to get you.
Yeah, we're all going to die eventually.
Yeah, like, that's always, you're going to die eventually, you know.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's ridiculous.
Let's disagree.
Basically, I disagree with the
also,
protests.
if anyone is listening to this and you disagree with us and you want to say something to us, don't. I don't care.
Or if you really want to, please comment.
Yeah, comment, like and save, and share the post to, you know, whoever, and let them know to send us attack. But make sure that they comment to, like, boost the algorithm.
Absolutely. Please.
Right. Do you have a recommended film for the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm thinking If ... by Lindsay Anderson, I believe the director is. It's a film about a boys' public school in Britain, and you know,
1968.
1968, very you know, symbolic year. Stuff about the death penalty and violence and
patriotism.
You know, class, patriotism, nationalism. We're getting back into it. You know, the British, they had a lot of good stuff back then.
They had a lot of nationalism.
Yeah. But they don't talk about it anymore, even though it's a bigger problem now than it was then.
Literally, yeah.
You know?
They talked about it way more back in the 50s and 60s and 70s.
Yeah, they're there in the 60s, like, you know, oh, nationalism's so terrible. And, you know, that these days, they're like, you know, fucking breaks and all that bollocks. They're like, what do you mean, nationalism? That doesn't exist, you know? Bollocks.
Yeah, that's actually gas. I never even thought about them before. They just completely regressed.
Yeah, they're cavemen. They're going backwards. But yeah, we're gonna watch it. If ... Look it up.
Look it up. It's somewhere.
Watch online. Put it into Google. It's right there.
Actually, I watched But I'm a Cheerleader on Vimeo.
So did I.
Vimeo has some shit on it, man.
Yeah, it had threads on it as well.
Yeah. Maybe check Vimeo.
Check Vimeo for If ... See what's up. Otherwise, it's somewhere in there. It's definitely not on any of the main sites.
No.
Because I'd never heard of this film until about 3 or 4 months ago. Never heard of it. You know, a bit weird.
It's weird.
because Roddy McDowell and all that.
All the boys.
And,
Oh yeah, it's got the guy from Clockwork Orange in it.
yeah. The guy from Alex DeLarge from Clockwork Orange is If. That's not his name, but like he's in If.
He is If.
He is the main character in If.
Okay, grand.
Alright, let's do it.
That sounds
Let's do
good. Can't wait. Yeah, we'll be back next week. Whatever.
See ya.
I mean, we're not gonna. We're 31 weeks into this. We're not gonna miss a
We're
week.
not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
You know, we're your
Okay.
favorite 2-hour-long Monday podcast based in Ireland, Dublin, about movies. That's what we are.
Same time every week.
Maybe not the
See
best
ya.
one, but we're the one that you listen to.
Wow, serendipity right there.
That's
you know?
perfect,
That's
right?
literally
That's perfect. Right, see you everyone. Ihowa.
Good night. God bless.